The New England Patriots are coming off a disappointing season in 2022, but we're expecting to make a major comeback this season after having an active offseason with aspirations of making sure this team was, much improved heading into 2023. Bill Belichick in the front office made a variety of different moves, including signing Juju Smith-Schuster from the Kansas City Chiefs, also signing Ezekiel Elliott, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys, and former Dolphins tight end Mike Gesicki, making this offense a lot more versatile, you could say. But these moves told me pretty much just one thing: the Patriots still had complete faith and belief in Mac Jones and are ready to see him take the next step in order to help this team get back to the playoffs. But last night, the Patriots played in their final preseason game of the year when they took on the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Now, Mac Jones did not get any playing time, so it's safe to assume that he is the day one starter that most of us kind of projected was going to happen. Now, the offense for the entirety of the night had major problems. Bailey Zappi was the backup quarterback, or played the majority of the game with Mac Jones being out, and quite frankly, he looked terrible. And honestly, I know it's preseason, but there were some major issues in this game for the Patriots. And in this video, we're going to discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything you need to know from Friday's game versus the Titans. But more importantly, why Patriots fans shouldn't panic just yet. However, before we get into the video, make sure you guys do me a huge favor and smash the like button if you haven't already done so. Not only does it help out the channel so much, but it also gets the video out to more Patriots fans around the world. So let's see if we can get the video up to 500 likes. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be covering the Patriots all off season long, all regular season long, everything you could think of. I've got you guys covered, as well as live streaming games. I was live for the Patriots game yesterday, and I'm going to continue to be live for every single Patriots game for the rest of the season. So make sure you guys join the family, turn on post notifications so you're notified not only every time we go live for a Patriots game, but every time we post a video as well. And lastly, if you guys play fantasy football but hate being stressed about your start sit decisions, you guys need to check out Underdog Fantasy. I partnered with them, and I can get you guys a crazy deal. Go check out the link in the description, and you guys, they'll match any offer or any deposit you make. They'll match it 100%. So if you put in $100, they'll give you a free $100 to play with. If you guys like fantasy football or betting or putting in higher lower picks, this is what you need to go check out my link. And if you want to join in a fantasy league with me, this is where I'm going to do it. So comment down below if you sign up, and I'll get you in my league. I have like 3 spots open, so let me know if you want in. But without any further ado, let's jump into today's video. Now, as the Patriots rested the majority of their starters, it seemed like Bill O'Brien was very adamant on keeping Bailey Zappi in the game to see what he was going to bring as a quarterback. Now, like I said before, Zappi was in the game for, I would say, 90% of the game. I think he passed the ball. We're at 15 attempts out of 18. So he was pretty much the only quarterback that played. McSorley got a couple drives. Cunningham had a couple of throws. But other than that, it was pretty much Zappi for the entirety of the game. And as the game continued, he just looked worse and worse as time went on. And, a game where he had 3 fumbles and led the team to a miraculous 79 total yards. Yeah, miraculous 79 yards in the game. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that. Pretty terrible. But to be completely fair, it seemed like the offensive line was absolutely horrendous, and he barely had time to think in the pocket after being sacked 4 times throughout the game. He was also throwing to a bunch of wide receivers who most likely aren't going to make the team. Tyreek Pitts out of Pitt, I want to believe. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have Rayleigh Webb. You have Malik Cunningham. And those are pretty much your wide receivers who, had any time during the game at wide receiver. We didn't see Keyshawn Butte. Didn't see Kendrick Bourne. Demario Douglas. Didn't see Devontae Parker. Juju. Pretty much the 6 wide receivers that are, going to make the team didn't play. And I think that's something that we can pretty much lock in at this point. And so also I want to give him a little bit of a pass in terms of he wasn't throwing to any A1 talent at the wide receiver position. So maybe you can take that into account. His offensive line wasn't amazing, but overall Bailey Zappi did not look good at all. And overall the offense looked the worst I've ever seen it. And the only bright spot was maybe Pierre Strong coming back from his injury, his minor injury, and looking pretty solid. But I don't even know if we can classify that, 8 carries, 31 yards, averaging 3.9 yards per carry, a bright spot. I don't know if we can classify it as that, but trust me, in this game, you'd really have to dig deep to find anything positive from this offense. Now, with that being said, the defense definitely had a couple of guys really stand out. Even though we got torched at some points of the game, there were some guys who really stood out to me, and one name in particular that really was good was Calvin Munson, a linebacker who, honestly, before this game, I thought had no shot to make the roster. However, I think this really helps, although maybe he still doesn't make the roster, but this helps. This not only helps him with his career moving forward, but he can make the practice squad, he can make the 53-man roster, and now he has a ton more footage, a ton more highlights, and just more tape for other teams to look at if they want to consider bringing him into the team. He had 10 tackles, 6 solo, a pass deflection, a tackle for a loss, an interception. The man was all over the field last night, and he was one of the major factors of this, New England Patriots defense that, didn't look amazing, but he was definitely one of the bright spots. We also had Ronnie Perkins, who again, was all over the field, 9 tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. He had a QB hit as well. He did puke on the field during the game as well, so that was interesting. Hopefully he's all good. And then Joe Giles Harris is another guy that stood out to me. He had 9 tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for a loss, a pass deflection, and he had an interception as well. So him and Calvin Munson were definitely the 2 bright spots of this team. But then there's another guy, Sam Roberts, who seemed like he was all over the field. 7 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 QB hits. Sam Roberts was everywhere, and he's definitely a guy I think could make either the practice squad or maybe even the regular 53-man roster if he continues to prove himself in practice next few days. But yeah, cuts are coming very soon. So these guys are going to have to continue to build upon what they just did in this game. And those are probably the 4 guys who really stood out to me. Shaun Wade made a couple of good plays. Jack Jones looked good early besides one flag or one, I believe it was a pass interference call. But Calvin Munson, Ronnie Perkins, Joe Giles Harris, and Sam Roberts, to me, looked really, really good. And those are guys who might not be, guys to make the 53-man roster, but definitely the practice squad. And even more likely, they're probably going to find a team somewhere else just because how good they've been over the entirety of the preseason. But overall, we saw a ton of players who really haven't got too much of a shot throughout the preseason, and they finally got their opportunity to showcase their skills. And some really stood out and some didn't. And these guys could be on their way to the practice squad, could be on their way to a different team, or some of their careers could be over. We don't really know what's going to happen from here, but overall, this was a relatively bad preseason for New England. I think this offensive line needs to improve a ton to start the season, and I think they will. A lot of guys, missed time due to the fact that they just needed rest and they wanted to prevent the risk of injury, and they did exactly that, resting David Andrews and getting Trent Brown some time away, and a lot of these guys just didn't play, which is good for the health of the team going forward. However, it is a real concern that our offensive line depth looks really bad, and if we do suffer any injuries to some of our big pieces along the offensive line, we could be in trouble. Now, I don't really know what's going to happen from here, but definitely need to see some improvements within this offensive line going forward. Now, with all that being said, I think the Patriots will be fine. As long as Mac Jones continues to take the right steps in the right direction and continues to, get his supporting cast to come out and just buy into the system, buy into him as the quarterback, I think there's some hope for the Patriots this season. Obviously, the Bills, obviously, the Dolphins and the Jets are really, really good, but I do think the Patriots can definitely steal some games, and let's say they get 9 or 8, 9, 10 wins. If they can get 9 or 10 wins, they could potentially make the playoffs. It is a tough division, but, you have Bill Belichick, can never count him out. We just got to hope Mac Jones continues to develop the way he should be. And the defense is obviously this team's strong suit. They have a terrifying defense. I think a lot of teams in the NFL are going to be a little bit hesitant going up against this defense. There's a lot of just strong suits that they have. A lot of guys, a lot of depth at safety, at corner, at defensive line. They have so many guys that can come out here and contribute. So I do think that's going to be a major X factor for the Patriots next season. And I just don't think it's time to panic just yet. A defense can take you a very far away, as we've seen in the past. So if this defense is top tier again, the offense only needs to do so much to get some wins under their belt. So hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Join the family. Like I said, I will be covering the entirety of the season, regular season, postseason, playoff game, everything you think of, I've got you guys covered. So join the family, turn on post notifications, and also check out Underdog Fantasy, and comment down below one player you think is a sneaky player who could potentially make this roster come cuts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. And if you love playing fantasy sports like football, basketball, baseball, and so many other sports, but also love being able to win money, you're going to want to stick around for this whole segment. Introducing Underdog Fantasy, the ultimate platform for fantasy sports lovers. Do you want to experience the thrill of drafting your team and competing for huge prizes? Well, look no further. With Underdog Fantasy, you get access to a wide range of fantasy sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. But here's what makes Underdog Fantasy stand out from all of those other apps. They've got quick and user-friendly drafting process, a unique and exciting game formats, fair and competitive contests for all skill levels, and attractive bonuses and promotions. Not only can you draft teams and compete with others, but you can also play a game of higher and lower, which is personally my favorite thing to do on there, but you can potentially win 20 times the money you put down. And if you use code MattyDubs when you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And what that means is basically when you deposit, let's say $100, they'll give you a free $100 to use and play with. Click the link in the description to get started, or head to the website right now to start dominating the fantasy world. And don't miss out on all the fun. Be a part of the Underdog community starting now. And don't forget, if you use code MattyDubs, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Let's get started. Get into drafts with me starting today.